Good evening, Texas bikers and bikers all across the nation. This is Texas Biker Radio, number 392. My name is Mel Popeye Moss, my co-host Mel O.G. Robbins. We are here with you each and every week. And man, Mel or O.G., what do you think?
I go by either.
What do you think about all the mess? Oh, wait a minute. I got to tell you something, Mel. I posted on Facebook today about my visit going to the doctor's office this morning.
I saw that.
Yeah, and I apologize to everybody for this scratching noise that's on the audio. I don't know what that is. We'll have to figure it out. But maybe we can make it through it with this show. Anyway, I'm going over to the doctor's office, and I'm putting along. All of a sudden, here's this cop come in behind me. And, he's right on my butt. And I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at him again and again at my rearview mirror, and I thought, well, the hell is he going to stop me? What's he going to do? What the hell is he going to stop me for? I know I'm riding legal. So I watched him for the longest. He follows me for the longest, and eventually he just goes on around. Now, man, I promise you, I was getting ready to give him the what for if he was going to stop me. Because I was on a essential business going to the doctor's office. But there, things went to hell. As I started going in the doctor's office, there's this nurse at the door, and she's taking everybody's temperature. And I'm standing there. There's a couple of ladies ahead of me, and one goes through, and I'm maintaining my social distance now. But somehow, somebody come in behind me, and I got pushed into the foyer. Well, I'm standing behind this lady, and the lady does her temperature, and she says, "You've got a fever." Oh, I went, "Oh, shit," and I jumped out through that door. I put it in reverse quick and back out that door, man. And then she walks out there, and didn't bother to go around me, went straight at me about 2 feet from me, and I'm going, "Oh, crap, man." So much for social distancing in that case. And so I finally get inside there, and of course I heard her tell that lady, go out there and see if you cool down. Go out there and I don't know, maybe he rode there with the windows up and no air conditioning on. I don't know what happened to her, why she had a temperature. It's like 99.3 or something like that. But I guess eventually she got in. I'm going, damn, man. You try to do, and of course, people are still running everywhere. There's still a lot of businesses open. And so, it's pretty tough if you go to the doctor's office, whether you go to the store, wherever else. It's pretty hard to maintain if nobody's paying any freaking attention.
Therein lies the problem.
Yeah.
In fact, I heard them talking on the radio about testing.
Mm-hmm.
And before they'll test you, you have to have a temperature, a fever. But here's the deal. If you don't make at least 99.8, I think it's 8,
mm-hmm.
they won't give you a test. If you're 99.4, too bad.
Yeah.
You fall below the parameters. So, unusual, but I just wish I could remember if she's. It could have been 98.6, but I thought, that's kind of a little low. I guess that's a pretty mild fever.
Mm-hmm.
going to get a test. And the issue is you can't go in and just say, I think I may have the virus. You need to give me a test. They screen you and they take your temperature.
Yeah.
Now the issue is, and I cannot remember if it was 98.6 or 98.8 is the threshold.
Right.
But unless you hit that, they will not test you. You can be 1 degree or 1/10 of a degree below it, and too bad, so sad, no test.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they were talking about a lady over here in Fort Worth that she had COVID-19, but she had hell getting a test. So she finally had to go over to Dallas instead of Tarrant County and go to the American Airlines Center and get a test. Now, I don't know at that time she still had a fever or whatever, but it turns out she had it, but she couldn't get a test in Fort Worth, but she could get one in Dallas. Because they started taking a policy of taking anybody, and I think just anybody over 65.
Oh, you can just walk in if you're over 65 and get it?
You can drive in.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's one of those drive-in things. And of course, once they done a certain amount of tests per day, I think it's like 250, then they're done. Because that's all they can do in one day. So what's interesting is test kits going around the country. They've done over 400,000 tests now. And the data is showing some interesting things. And the death rate is really, really pretty low right now. And so they're having, that's the reason, like, they're looking out there and they're saying, well, can we go back to work in certain sections of the country here pretty soon? And so I do think at some point that will happen. It may not be Easter, but at some point I think that's going to happen. Now, New York's a whole different thing. But you know, when these governors are on there whining that they don't have this, they don't have that, well, you know, it's the state governments that's their responsibility to set up these healthcare, emergency healthcare organizations. That's their responsibility. And from what I understand, New York had at one time last year had a chance to order 14,000 ventilators. Now they didn't do it. They didn't do it, so that's not the federal government's fault. Matter of fact, the federal government is just supposed to be there to support them. And that's what FEMA does. Go ahead.
The interesting thing here is you know, everyone always screams about state sovereignty.
Oh, yeah.
And how the federal government shouldn't be involved in state business, yada, yada, yada. Here's a perfect example. The first time anything goes wrong, be it a hurricane, a tornado, earthquake, virus, whatever, they all start screaming for the federal government, open arms.
Yeah.
You know, everyone complains that the federal government's involved in everything. Well, we're involved in everything because everybody keeps asking them to get involved.
Right. Exactly.
And you know, I don't think people realize that, you know, you keep inviting someone into your tent. It's the old camel in the tent parable. Pretty soon that camel's going to set up. Just a fact.
Yeah, Mel, you're talking about, you keep inviting them back or keep begging them to come back, keep begging them to supply equipment. And of course, they're out there searching for everything they can find. There's only X amount of ventilators. There's only X amount of N95 masks. We didn't know that the world was going to go out there and buy them up. You know? So now we're competing with everybody for all this stuff.
Well, and then you got suppliers in the United States that are selling them to foreign countries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a whole other subject. But just goes to show you how human greed plays in to everything.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that young man this morning on Fox and Friends. They had a young man that owned some type of T-shirt company, and he was willing. They're changing over to start making these masks. Well, he found out. He's a young engineer. He found out that there are companies out there that are actually hoarding the materials that are used to make these masks. In other words, they went out there and bought all these materials up, and now they're hoarding them. And so, in order to drive the price up, who would that be? Would that be like 3M?
I wouldn't think so. I think they probably buy raw material through a broker.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, whenever you've got you're dealing in a commodity,
mm-hmm.
It always goes to a middleman.
Yeah.
Never from the originator, like hell, even cattle.
Mm-hmm.
You take cattle to an auction, you don't really have Hormel there buying
right.
the beef directly. You have brokers that are there buying them,
mm-hmm.
and then you buy them from the broker. Otherwise, if you think about it, and you were trying to buy raw material direct from the people that were mining it or whatever the hell they do to get it,
mm-hmm.
You'd be running around all over the place. But if a broker's going around buying it up and they're a central supply, then that, who I would presume companies like Honeywell and other companies that manufacture goods like that are buying it from, would be from a broker.
Yeah.
So it's these brokers that are running around gathering it all up, and then they're jacking up the price because it's the old supply and demand thing.
Yeah. Wow. Well, hey, Mel, getting around to some motorcycle stuff, I saw that, on my way over to the doctor's office, I saw, usually I can see multiple motorcycles riding over to Fort Worth. I see 4, 5, 6.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe some riding together. I saw,
there's a ton of people that ride them to work,
Yeah, I saw 2 this morning.
Yeah.
That number's way down from what I usually see.
Well, actually, you can still get your motorcycle repaired. I got an email from Harley Davidson of Dallas up here in Allen advising that their mechanics are on duty. They screen their mechanics every day when they come in, but they are considered an essential service. So, if you got something wrong with your bike and you need it to get to work or whatever, you can still take it to the dealer to get it repaired.
Yeah, I noticed over in Fort Worth there was, on my way in, I did notice there was a bar that was open. Now, they also had a sign on there, "We sell pizza." So I don't guess you could go in there and hang out, but you could probably go in there and get you a pizza. Or whatever, I don't know.
Pizza to go.
I'm going to have to check and see if Stroker's is open. The bar. The restaurant.
That would be tough because, that's really a gathering place, and that's a pretty small grill.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if you could go in and get takeout.
I'm going to check that out. We'll let everybody know. Because, you could go in there and order, and then walk outside. There's plenty of room outside there where you could maintain your social distance.
That's true.
Yeah, plenty of room. Unless there's 500 to 1,000 other bikers there, then that story changes. But you can't gather up in a group any more than 10. And I think I am going to do my Corona ride on Sunday just to maintain some sanity. You know?
Well,
I'll write myself out a prescription.
if you're riding by yourself, you'd probably be okay.
No, hell no. I'm going to take people with me.
I suspect, well, just a suspicion that if a club is riding together, they're going to get popped.
Well, maybe that's one way we can get stopped. We didn't seem to be able to get stopped when it counted.
That's true. That's true.
When we were trying to, we couldn't do it for nothing.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how much they ratchet it up. I mean, they said it'd get worse before it gets better, and sure as hell, that's what's happening.
Well,
I mean,
because we're doing more testing.
You can't go to a city or county up in this area that isn't on some sort of stay-in-place order. We're just short of a virtual lockdown. Right now, it's they'll let you wander around a little bit, but now that you hear the news tonight that New York City is going critical.
Oh yeah.
I've got a hunch they're going to start shortening those leashes real quick.
You know what
However, Trump did allude to the fact that there may be some areas of the country that they start lifting restrictions off of because there isn't that much activity in those areas. However, with all the New Yorkers now fleeing New York, they're probably going to infect the rest of the country.
Yeah. Go figure. Their asses should be back in their tiny apartment in New York. Man, that brings up another subject. In New York, they got the subways. And of course, the subways, they got all these metal bars and these hanging things that they hang on to when you're crowded and they're riding along. And when that virus lasts a long time on metals. Well, and they disinfect those cars every night, but once they disinfect it, how long does that last?
Have you ever been on the subway in New York?
Oh, hell yes.
I remember one of my first trips. I went there for a board meeting, this corporation I was working at, and my boss, before we got to the subway platform, he said, "Don't look anybody in the eye."
Yeah.
Because they'll probably push you off the platform.
And of course, they got their trains also that can run people out of New York and up to Connecticut.
Well, they say these people are escaping to places like Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Florida's already pretty well infected anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Well, hey, let's all go out to the beach, nuts to butts. Man, and Louisiana is in dire straits from what I hear down New Orleans way.
Well, yeah, that would make sense. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of people down there roaming around, and makes sense. It's usually these fairly concentrated urban areas
Mm-hmm.
that are getting hit the hardest, like DFW.
Yeah.
You get anywhere where you got a lot of people concentrated in one area, and there's going to be a problem.
You know what, Mel? that should make you think the next time you think about going down and leasing one of those expensive high rises in Dallas. Because once you're there, once you're in one of those things, and of course we talked about this before, people being stacked up on top of one another, and you're going in and out of a building with, say, 500 apartment units, 1,000, whatever, people running in and out, touching everything, being stupid. I mean, yeah, I can see it. Once you start stacking people on top of each other, instead of being able to go home and stay in your castle.
Well, that's why I think controls are going to get a lot tighter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because you got a lot of people.
Yeah. And of course, we have
that aren't paying attention. They're moving around, and now that they're testing and they're driving up the stats, even though the death rate is very low, mm-hmm. You've got something here that's being promoted as earth-shattering.
Yeah.
They're gonna tighten the noose, and I'll bet almost anything we will be down on virtual lockdown in some areas. I don't think it'll be the entire country, but I think there are going to be some areas that are going to be quarantined and locked down.
Hey, OG, why do you think McLennan County, and for everybody that doesn't know, that's Waco, why would they be in lockdown?
Well,
to act like a big city?
Yeah, probably.
The college kids they're all gone on spring break, and they're from what I understand, they're not coming back. Their school year's done. They're finishing everything online. So,
well, I think when they and there may be some angle here where when they declare an area like that, maybe there's funding that's made available.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you just, we always say it's always about the money.
Yeah, out there to grab that buck.
And I'll bet you there is funding available the minute they declare a crisis in the area.
Yeah. Of course, today I heard one of the new things is the Army and the Army Reserve down there at Fort Hood are doing a bunch of maneuvers. Isn't that an Army base?
Well,
isn't that a training center? Don't they always do the maneuvers down there?
Yes, they do. They're just trying to make a big deal out of it. It's just like they're making a big deal out of the National Guard getting called up in certain areas where, oh God, there's going to be martial law declared. So far they're just being used to, help deliver stuff and clean up areas and stuff like that. Not to say if all of a sudden they decide to clamp down in an area, they can't pull them in as, some sort of law enforcement auxiliary.
Yeah.
It can damn sure happen.
Well, I will say to everybody out here that, out there, that there's a lot of manufacturing plants that are still open. Aircraft plants are still open. Talked to Charlie today. They're all still open. They're all still working. They're just maintaining their social distances, and they all get scanned every morning for a temperature check. So there are a lot of places still working. And I think that may be what Trump's talking about is, let's go back to work. For those who can, and everybody be smart about it. Now, Mel, I will say one thing about all the stuff that went to China. And, and we talk a lot on this show about manufacturing because that's what I came out of, was aircraft manufacturing. And Mel, you've had experience with manufacturing also, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so here's what happened. Back in the 80s, when NAFTA came along, when NAFTA came along, and then we saw that we were our union was fighting it left and right. I used to be a union member then. Matter of fact is, at one time I was a union organizer. Oh yes, I was, and so that's another story. We'll tell it sometime. But what happened is we were telling them, we were trying to warn them that hey, we would lose jobs. We would do this would happen. Would that happen? We'd lose our manufacturing base. But let me say this one thing: once you're with one of these companies that manufactures a product from the smallest parts to the finish, and you have a machine shop and you're doing all this stuff is flowing down the line. Once you get it all up and running, it's going like clockwork. Well, the minute you outsource your machine shop, your assembly shop, you lose control of the production process. Because when something fails or when some company fails, you're left waiting for parts. And from what I understand right now, that was General Dynamics. Lockheed right now is some people are off work because they're waiting on landing gear. Now I don't know what airplane that's working that is, whether it's the new fighter, which a large percent of that has to be American made, and it should be all of it. Or maybe it's the F-16 that we're selling to foreign countries. But anyway, Turkey's making the landing gear. They can't get the landing gear from them because guess what? They're having problems. You've lost your ability to control the manufacturing process.
Well, see, that's what a lot of people don't understand. Is a lot of these big companies like Ford, General Motors, Lockheed, Boeing, a lot of that stuff and they are totally dependent on these small companies to deliver the goods, be it a small company in the United States, and even the small companies in the United States order their crap from China or wherever else, Mexico.
Oh yeah.
Wherever else they can get it. So, it's just it's an ugly chain that occurs. And when you were saying, well, there's some big companies that are still working, I was thinking, well, even Trump was talking and employment in the United States is from small business.
Right.
Not the big corporations, it's small business.
Yeah.
And that is what's crippled right now. Most of the small businesses are just flat ass crippled. And even if they're considered an essential service, what the hell are you going to do if the little widget that you're putting in the black box that's going to be sent over to Lockheed is manufactured in China?
Yeah.
Well, the little black boxes are going to stop because you can't get them.
Oh yeah. I'm telling you.
For our computers and guidance systems and whatever are manufactured in the Far East.
Well, I'll tell you, at the end of all this mess, we've got to take a close look. We've got to bring manufacturing back to this company, especially critical items, and maybe even just non-critical items. China has put this country on its knees. That's what it's done. Whether it's their fault or not, they have put us on their knees because they kept quiet about this stuff in the beginning. And I still don't believe that they're telling us the truth now, Mel.
Well, hell, even we like our Harleys. We love our Harley Davidsons.
Oh, yeah.
We like to say they're American made.
Yes, we
the
do.
Truth is, They may be assembled here, but guess where most of the parts are
There you
made?
go. There you go. Oh, Mel, hey, and one other thing, too. China. The reason Italy is in such bad shape, China has been buying Italy up pieces at a time. They got their claws into them. And that's the reason there were so many Chinese visitors there,
Oh, yeah.
or so many Chinese workers. And that's the reason Italy had a Hug a Chinaman Day. Now, that's not being racist, that's just telling the truth. But, Mel, once again, I apologize for that noise if it ends up in the video, and we'll have that straightened out for the next show. I'll go buy all new connections, see if I can get rid of that. And, Mel, we've, you can't hear it, and I can.
I cannot hear it on this thing.
And it's driving me nuts, and I know it'll end up in our recording.
Well, I was listening to you. I think you listening to it today, and it wasn't coming through when I was listening to it.
Yeah. Well, it was working right this morning. For some reason, it's not working now. This just happens every once in a while. But once I go to jacking with it, I'll make it worse. So with that, everybody, I know my voice is still messed up from my cancer surgery. I'm still not talking real well, but who knows? Maybe this is as good as it gets. I don't know. With that, everybody, this is Butch Popeye Moss with the OG.
Good night, everybody.
Telling you to
Keep
ride
safe out
safe.
there.
Ride safe, everybody. Bye-bye.